Hello, everyone, and welcome to Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers. This is Joelle Jobson. Today's topic is going to be the Book a Room template, Power Apps Book a Room template, and it is a built-in template on Microsoft, built into the Power Apps app online. And we're going to dig in and do a deep dive and figure out how it works and point out how, not only how it works, but how you can figure out how it works, because there's a lot in there. So I want to show you how to kind of like dissect it, figure out what's going on. So time for the stinger. All right, so if you're new to Power Hour, this is a show that we do Wednesdays at 11 Central, and it is geared towards business users, not necessarily super technical. We talk about everything Microsoft 365, all the different products, a lot of Power Apps, SharePoint, Power Automate, Teams, and integrations between all those things. And we've been doing this for about 10 years. We have a live chat going on in Teams. We like to use the products that we talk about. So wherever you're watching this video, there's going to be a link to click to request to join. And we're adding everyone as external users in this Microsoft 365 tenant, and you can come chat with us. So we have you're going to be in a team called Power Hour in Teams, and we have a tab in that team in the general channel for each time we do Power Hour. So today's 228, you can go to that tab, and that's where we have the chat going on. So hey everybody, hey Laura, Robin, Glenna, Raheen, it's good to see you all, everybody here. Hey Missy. And this is also where we share our notes, discuss, ask questions. It's a lot of fun. You never know what's going to happen. And I did something slightly new today. I went to the notes tab in this team that we're in the general channel, and I added notes about this Book a Room Power App with a couple of resource links and just some information about some of these functions that we'll be talking about in this Power App as we look at it. So that's where you can find those notes. So you can chat in the 228 tab, and then that's where you can see notes and resources. So figured that might be a better way to do it than just kind of posting links and stuff. So just to have them in the notes. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. Let's see, I'm changing things up a little bit. I'm gonna find my screen sharing thing. Okay, there we are. All right, so here is Power Apps. I created a blank Power App here. I'm going to be using this to kind of show you. Can you see the Power? Am I showing the right screen? You see the Power App? It's a blank Power App. No?
No, it looks like it's Teams.
Oh, it's got the wrong screen. Oh, okay. Well, I'll just switch it over. There. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I switched a few things around on my computer. I have a new teleprompter now. So the teleprompter is actually acting as a third screen. So now all my screens are all out of whack. So that's fine. All right. So that was, so Teams, that I'll show you that real quick. This is where we're chatting. So this is where we've got the Power Hour team, general channel, 228 is today. And then you click this little bubble here to chat with us. And so that's where we have the questions and things. And then the notes is where I added some notes and added some links to resources. So that's where that's going on. Okay, so I have a blank Power App that I'm going to use as we go, where I'm going to, because once we get into this Book a Room Power App, it's going to be pretty overwhelming. So there's going to be a lot going on. So I just created a blank one. So if there are a few things I might want to do just with a blank, completely clean slate, so you can kind of see how some of this works. I have, now let me show you just real quick how I got to this Book a Room template. I went to web.powerapps.com, and it is built in. So it is, when you just go to create, it's got these templates here. So Book a Room is just one of the templates. So if you want to follow along, you can actually follow along as we're doing this Power Hour, and you can kind of dig in and see what you can see, like as I do it, because everybody has access to this. So when you click on that book a room template, it's not going to require any kind of premium connectors or anything. All it has is an Outlook connector and Office 365 users connector. So you don't need to have a database or anything. So you give it a name, and it was just going to put a random number on the end of it, and then click create. So then when you click create, that's going to take you to this one that I created ahead of time. So this is the book a room template, and I'll kind of show you around in here and show you what it does, and then we'll dig into the magic of kind of how some of this works. So this is the landing screen. So this is where I start off. And this, again, this is based on Outlook. So this is looking at my Outlook calendar. Another thing this is based on is going to be Exchange. And if you have any conference rooms that you're sharing that have been set up in Exchange for your company, where you have conference rooms that people can book, that's going to be a big part of it too. So before I start clicking around and showing you how to book meetings, it's going to help to see the conference rooms, because book a room is based on there being conference rooms. So if your company doesn't have any of these set up in Exchange, then you're probably not going to get very far in this app. So I did go ahead. This is, of course, a demo tenant. I did go ahead and create a few of these, a couple of them. And I am an Exchange admin. You do have to be an Exchange admin to do this. So I went to the admin center, went to Exchange over here. And then this is the Exchange homepage, and I need to go to resources over here on the left. Let me see if I can zoom in. There we go. I'll go to resources over on the left, so that when you start seeing these rooms in the app, when I show you, you'll see that's where it comes from. So I've got this conference room A and conference room B. I'll go ahead and just add another room while I'm in here, just so you can see kind of what that process looks like. I'll just call it conference room C. I'm not very creative. And it'll just give it conference room C email address at, just in my tenant. And you have to tell it how many people can fit in that room. So I'll just say 20. Not all this is going to be required, but depends on how expansive your company is and how much information you need to have. If you just have one office, you probably don't need to put all this information in it. But so I did put the capacity being 20. And then I know not everybody's an Exchange admin, but I show you things like this so that if you're trying to use this app we're about to create and you don't have any rooms in it, this is what you can ask your Exchange admin to do if you do need to have conference rooms at your company that you're booking. So I'm just going to say booking window, maximum duration, that's fine. Automatically accept and decline meeting requests. Thanks for booking room C. That's going to be the automatic reply to be sent. And then I can specify users who I want to accept and decline manually. So there are a lot of settings in here. So it's going ahead and creating this conference room. So now you kind of know where the rooms come from, so that when you're trying to book a room, if you don't see anything there, that's where they are. They're created in Exchange. And that's the only place that they can be created. There's another concept in here that you'll see called room lists. And I looked that up and I put a link to it in that notes section. Room lists are lists of rooms. So if you have so many conference rooms in your company, or so many locations and all these, and you need to organize them into lists of conference rooms, like if you have all the conference rooms in this building, in this city, and all the conference rooms in this other, you can create room lists. So room lists can only be done via PowerShell. So I didn't create any room lists. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have room lists for this to work, but it does look for room lists in the app, and it will it has some different functionality that it will do if it sees a list of rooms. So now I've got 3 conference rooms, and I'll go back to, let's see, I don't need to be here. Now I'm on my book a room. So I'll go ahead and push play. See if I zoom in enough. Yeah, that's good. I'll go ahead and push play to preview this app and go through a few things for you. So the first option that the end user is going to be presented with in here is to book for an existing meeting or book without a meeting. So If you already have a meeting on your calendar and you just want to book a conference room for the already existing meeting, you'll click this first button. But if you want to book without a meeting, if you're just creating something brand new, it doesn't exist in your calendar yet, that second one is what you're going to do. So I'll book for an existing meeting. And when I do that, it's going to look at my calendar. So this is all just based on my own calendar. So here's my calendar in this little fake tenant. I've got some little fake meetings in here. So I've got power hour, team meeting, customer meeting. So this is just in my Outlook calendar. And then you can see I've got a couple of meetings in here tomorrow and Friday. So when I'm in this app, these are the meetings for today that you just saw in my calendar. So the first thing I can do is I can decide which day that I want to book my meeting for. So I can pick tomorrow. Oh, today's my daughter's 20th birthday, by the way. Yay. Happy birthday, Charlotte. And speaking of dates. And then I've got, this is tomorrow. So you saw those two meetings in my calendar. So the all hands meeting and meet with Brenda. And it shows me like this one doesn't have a location and this one is a Microsoft Teams meeting. So you'll notice, let me go back to this one. And this one says it's got a location. This one has no location. So this is just using that location field when you're creating a meeting, and that's what it's showing you here. So, so if I'm booking for an existing meeting, I'll just pick this customer meeting one. So then when I pick the existing meeting, then it's saying, okay, it sees, now it probably needs to refresh, just it doesn't know yet that I have that new conference room that I created. So it probably just needs to refresh, which I haven't done. So it's showing me the two conference rooms that I already had created. And then since I picked today, now I can change the date if I want to. Then it's going to take me back to the screen where I picked a date. But I can also change the time. Now this is cool. Look at this. So when I go to change the time, look at this interface. This is really neat. So if I choose that I want a 2-hour meeting, it actually calculates it for me. So if I change this, so this whole screen I think this is super useful just to be able to take this and run with it and kind of do different things with it in other apps. But I like the way this interface works where you can either pick the start and end time, or you can just, pick it from a drop-down box. So I've got a 1-hour meeting anyway. So I picked today and I picked 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, click save. And now it's showing me the rooms. And then this is where it says this is my customer meeting. And I'm going to say I want to book conference room A. So as soon as I click book, the room has been booked. So now I'm in conference room A, and I can choose to book another room if I want to. And I'll just say book for an existing meeting. And so now that customer meeting that I clicked on, now it says conference room A, and it says 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And I'll go book another one. I'll go to tomorrow. And I'll say this all hands meeting. I want to have that. Oh, I need to change that 8 to 9. Yeah, that's good. I'll do conference room B. So now it's booked. So it's pretty quick. It seems very simple, doesn't it, Joelle? It seems like a very simple app. You're like, oh, click, 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 done. There is so much going on in here. So I'll just click done or not. And so basically it just takes me back to this main screen. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens that it uses. And it's got this is good to know. So this collections and variables, this is the notes that they made for us to know what we're looking at in here. So this is really helpful reference that whoever created this app that they built in. So this is just for you to read to kind of understand what's going on. It describes all these different collections and variables. So we're going to dig into some of these and look at how they work, but just know that this screen is here. Now, this screen is not something that they have that you can navigate to like as an end user. This is just like a reference screen that the person created, that the person designing the app is able to look at, which is really helpful. I should make a habit to do that, by the way. I should just, like, every app that I create, like, create a screen that just describes all the collections and variables. I usually go in here and make notes in my, in my formulas and stuff too, but but this is another just good idea of a good practice to do. Okay, so let's kind of look at what it's using here. What is the data that it's using? So you start off with just the Office 365. This is the Outlook connector. And this is the Office 365 Users Connector. Outlook gets your calendar, your email, and then Office 365 Users gets information about users, like their name, what city they're in, what office location they're in, email address, things like that. So if I wanted to start creating something like this from scratch and I was just in a brand new blank Power App, I would go over here to the data and I would find Office 365. I'm just kind of showing you some of this from scratch so that it doesn't seem so daunting, that you can kind of see how it got in there. So Office 365 users, I just add that connection in there, and then I can say Office 365 Outlook is the other one. And it's adding that one in there. So once I add these connectors, so it actually, the name of this is actually changed over time, because this is a pretty old template. So this connector used to just be called Office 365. It's Office 365 Outlook. It's the same thing. So once you've added these connectors into your app, you're going to have all these different functions that are built in that are part of these connectors. So a lot of these functions will go over. You have to have the connectors in your app in order to use them. So like if I go just insert a label on my screen and I say, you know, what information do I want? I just kind of want to see what the functions look like, just to see what's available. I go to Office 365 Outlook then you can see all these things that I can do. It's like 100 different functions in here that I can do with my calendar in a Power App. So there's calendar, deleting items, getting items, patching, posting, contact information, emails, deleting emails, finding meeting times, forwarding emails, getting emails. So getting room lists, getting mail tips, and mail tips are like if you're out of office and things like that. Moving, you can move emails, respond to events. So obviously there's, like I said, like 100 different things in here, but that's where these exist. And that's kind of how you would get to them. And as soon as you pick one and you do an open parentheses, it's going to tell you exactly what it needs. Like what are the different parts of the formula, like table ID, given name. So if I want to patch, in this example, I just randomly clicked on a contact. That means I need to tell it like which mailbox the contact is in, which contact. And so it's got like specific information that it's asking me for, that it's letting me know what the formula expects. So that is just sort of the basis for what the connectors are and kind of how, you know, where these formulas all come from that we're going to be seeing in this Book a Room Power App. So let me go over to the Book a Room. So now let's we're going to dig in, and in my notes here, this is the way I've organized it. I've put the on start here. On start is what happens as soon as somebody opens up the app, and that's just all the formulas and functions that run, and it's going to gather information and put lists of things together in this case. And then I've also got, so I've got the on start here, but then I'm showing you the meeting select screen, the room select screen, and what I've been putting in these notes is the functions related to Outlook and like these two connectors that I've added to the app. So this is giving you like examples of what the functions are and kind of just a very short example of where you can find it. And I'm going to do a lot more of this. Again, I'm going to spend a lot of time showing you not only what the functions are doing, but how you can dissect it, because I could spend the entire day. There are so many formulas in this app. There's so much going on. I could spend the entire day if I was going to go through every single thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a few things, but show you how you can sort of dissect it and backtrace and figure out kind of where things are coming from and how they're working. So we're going to start with the on start, and we're going to go over kind of some basic things that it's doing. I am going to be glossing over some things, but it's just because there's an extreme amount of complexity in this app. So I'll just move this back over here. And let's see. How's it going in the chat? Yeah, let me know in the chat, if you have questions as we go. And let's see. Okay, so I've got the landing screen. The first thing that I'm going to go to is app over here. and that is where I can find the OnStart property. And this is where it's got a list of all the things that the app is doing. Now, and this app is pretty old. This template is pretty old, so you might find it that it looks kind of like this when you open it up, like all kind of mushed together. But you can just click Format Text, and that will spread everything out for you so it's easily readable. Now, the first thing it's doing is it's getting together a list of the word calendar in all these different languages. And I noticed that the reason that it's doing this is that in Exchange, each person's calendar is called like My Calendar. And it's called My Calendar in English, but it's called my, something. All the different languages have a different word for calendar. So since this app has spots where it needs to recognize and get information from the current user's calendar, it's got this whole catalog of the word calendar in here so that it can reference the My Calendar and be using the correct word. So what it's doing is it's creating a collection when you first start the app that's just getting a whole list of the word calendar. And then what it's doing is it's getting rooms list. So rooms list, again, like I mentioned, is something that exists in Exchange that can only be created via PowerShell. That is a list of rooms. So in our example, we don't have any room lists. We just have rooms. So it's getting, if you had room lists, it would go get them and put them all in this collection. And then it's looking to see if it's counting how many room lists you have. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through every formula, every step by step. I'm kind of doing this from the OnStart, and from here out, then we're going to kind of be more glossing over things. So it's counting if you have any room lists. And then it's collecting all your rooms. So clear collect all rooms. And if you want to run this just while you're working on the app, you can choose Run OnStart, and that will actually go ahead and do all those collections for you. But it's getting all the rooms. So when I see it doing a collection like this, like all rooms, and I see that clear collect, and I see the name of the collection, and it says it's a collection, where can I find that collection? Where can I immediately from here, I want to go see what all my rooms are. I can go over to the left for variables. And since this is a collection, I can go to expand out collections here and go find, so here's all rooms. So it says clear collect all rooms. Here's my all rooms table. And I can even go view the table. So this is going to be a list of my 3 conference rooms. So it went and got them and it put them in this collection. And anywhere in my app you see it referencing all rooms, that's what it's looking for. So another thing that you can do when you're looking around in the app and trying to figure out where things are being used is you can use this little search button over on the left. So not this search box. This is different. Use the search box over on the left. And I can say all rooms. And that's me looking for the collection. So I can even filter it down and say I only want to look for collections. And but maybe I want to go look for everywhere that it's being used in the entire app. Then I can go find all the spots where it's run. So I can see in the OnStart, that's where I just was, right here in the OnStart. I can see that it's collecting to get the all rooms. But then down here, I can see all the places that the all rooms collection is being used in my whole app. So I can see it's got a ton of references to it on all these other formulas. So that's one way that you can go find something and see, like, what is this? What's it for? What's it being used for? And then another thing that it's getting all the rooms. It's getting a bunch of durations. So a lot of things that Power Apps will do when you start up the app, when it just does some of these collections, is it just might need a list of things for a drop-down box. So in this case, it's got, remember the drop-down box that I showed you that had the times and had like drop-down boxes for like 1 hour, an hour and a half, things like that. Well, this is where it's got the durations here, and it's just creating this as a collection. So the collection is what it's going to be using in the drop-down box. It's got durations and times. So it's really just kind of tedious just going through creating all those. And then what it's doing here is this is an important variable, My Calendar, and that's going to be referenced in a lot of places too. And that's the currently logged in user. That's their calendar. And this is all going to be, this whole app is going to be personalized to whoever opens up the app. And so it's going to say set my calendar. And basically, this is that, remember the localized label that I was saying, like the word calendar in English? This is what it's using. So it's going to look up my calendar and in Office 365 in Outlook, and then it's going to get the name of the calendar. And my calendar is really ugly. The name of my calendar is, it's this, like this big long GUID. So this is like the unique ID to your calendar that it's going to use in a lot of places in this app. And then it's getting the currently logged in user's profile. It's getting the name of your company. So that's what it's doing when the app is just starting up. So you're going to find a lot of the things, and I put in the notes, when I put in the notes that these different screens here, like meeting select screen, room select screen, those are in the on visible. So as soon as you arrive on the screens, it's doing some additional things. So not only do you have a bunch of stuff happening right when you open the app, all these screens that I have listed here have different functions happening as you arrive on each screen that's doing additional things. So like when I choose, now a minute ago, I chose book for an existing meeting. I'll choose book without a meeting this time. And what it's going to do is it's very simple what it's doing. I say very simple, and I'm scrolling through all this information. It's basically taking today and now, and it's going to default a bunch of things to today, so that when I start picking my meetings and things, the drop down is going to have today, the calendar is going to show today. So that's what kind of all this magic is right here that it's doing to set, what is today. And then that whole rooms list that I was talking about, if you have one in Exchange, it's going to say, if no rooms list. So if you have no rooms list, go to the room select screen. If you do have a rooms list, then it's going to go to a room list select screen. So this is a screen that I'm never going to use because my company doesn't have any room lists. But if I did have a room list, that would take me there, and I'd go to the list, and then I'd drill down to go to a room. So this is going to navigate me. So let's go ahead and try that. Book without a meeting. So this is going to create a brand new appointment meeting in my own personal calendar. So I'm going to say, when do I want to create this meeting? I'll go ahead and say I want it to be tomorrow. I love this little calendar interface, by the way. You know what this is? This is a gallery. This is like a few galleries. Look at this. It's called Date Group. And it's got this month day gallery right here in the middle. And then it's got a weekday gallery up here at the top. And so this whole thing it's custom. So it's not the built-in drop-down calendar. It's like its own custom thing. So have you ever had customers or people in your company say, I don't like the built-in Power Apps calendar control. It's kind of ugly. It's wonky. I don't like the way it works. Is there some other option? Well, you could create your own completely custom calendar control. You can go grab this one and use it and just copy and paste it into your own app. I say just copy and paste, but obviously it's got a lot going on behind the scenes, but it is possible. This is a completely custom calendar. So I'll just say Friday. So I'm picking my date, and then I'll go ahead and pick a time. I'll say 12 to 1, save. And so now it's got the right time showing here. And then I'll say conference room C. And now I've got a brand new meeting that is in my calendar, conference room C, 12 to 1 tomorrow. And let's go see what it looks like. I'll just refresh my calendar. Oh, and it says conference room C accepted. So now it's accepted my meeting. Let's see. Oh, here it is. So it's conference room C, you're the organizer, and there it is. It just appeared on my calendar. So, and that's my location. Yep. So that's what the app did behind the scenes. So it's really just going straight into Outlook and doing this stuff for me. I don't know why the done button doesn't work, but book another room just takes you back to the home page. Probably need to fix the done button. But yeah, so that's the extreme basics of what's going on in here. So let me show you a little bit more about how to kind of figure out how to tweak things and figure out what's, kind of what's where and what all these formulas are doing. So I'll just say book for an existing meeting. And you can see that it's got meetings that are already in my calendar that's showing here. Now this is a gallery. So this is using a collection called Future Calendar Events. So what is Future Calendar Events? Where does that come from? So whenever you're looking through here and you're trying to tweak things or change things or take some functionality and copy it over to your own app, it's going to help to be able to figure out where it's getting this information and how it's doing things. So what it's doing here is this is a filter function on a gallery. So it's taking this list of future calendar events that's going to have a whole bunch of future calendar events, and it's going to filter it down to just the day that is selected in that little date picker. So what is future calendar events? Let's go see. So that is going to be a collection. And I'll go into my, let's see, collections here. And I've got future calendar events, and I can see that that's the raw data of what those look like. So you can see that it's got several of them in there. And so it's got 3 things. And also you can see that I can click through and just see all these different collections as well. And if you're not sure what collections are and functions, and I'm kind of going way too advanced for you, I have a Power Apps Basics class that is free. That's an hour or 2 on our site at iwmentor.com. And we have a advanced Power Apps class that is about 12 hours long. And so I teach all these concepts in there, if you're wondering. And it's much more formal and structured than Power Hour, which is kind of ad hoc. So that's how you can get to future calendar events. And then what if I want to know how future calendar events is obtained? Like, where is that being set? Where is that coming from? I can go to future calendar events and I'm searching for it. And then I can see that, of course, that's a collection. I can see that in the list of data. But then I can see that when I arrive on this meeting select screen, as soon as I get to this screen, the on visible, that's when it is getting my future calendar events. So where does that come from in Outlook? That is going to be this Office 365.get events calendar view. So if I just go to like this blank app and I say, let's see, collect. Just a blank collection. And then it's Office 365 Outlook dot, what was it, like future events? No, wait, let me see. Get events calendar view. And it's got a version 3 now. So how do I know how to do any of this? So the calendar ID is what it needs. This is the whole reason that this other app actually keeps that big long GUID in a variable so that it automatically just can use that anytime I need to go get events of the currently logged in user's calendar. So that's why that calendar ID is important to have, because it's going to use it in formulas like this. So see, it says my calendar. That's the formula. And a cool thing about Power Apps is when you're using variables like this, you can actually see it. So I click my cursor in my calendar and it shows me my calendar equals, and it has the actual value of it, of what it's storing in there. So I can just quickly visually see what that is as I'm writing my formula and not have to kind of go back and forth. So it says my calendar, and it's got this big, long, cryptic piece of data. And then what is the next piece of information it wants? So when it's getting the events, it needs the start date time offset and the end date time offset. So it needs to know when it's getting the events from my calendar, where does it start and end as far as which set of events to get. So I really I'm gonna want that day. So it's just taking today, and it's taking the beginning of today and the end of today and using that as the start and end. So that way it just gives me a subset of information that is today. Does anybody have any questions so far? It's way more complex than, it's got a lot more going on than I kind of have looked at this one before, but it's got formulas everywhere. So it has a lot going on. So hopefully it's not too bad. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Joelle, for putting that link in there. Okay, cool. So it's just, it's using a lot of these variables in multiple places, like to get the events. Now, if you've ever gone through our Power Apps advanced class, and one of the labs actually has a functionality where I've got a bonus in there, and it says to go get the calendar. Let's see, times that people are available. You give it a list of people and you get the times they're available, and it will actually book the calendar event for you. So I've got a part in there where it like actually uses some of this functionality for that to go get that information. And that is also going to be in the notes. That is the function called Office 365.find meeting times. So that is going to be, let me show you where that is in this app, because that's another just really interesting, besides this one that I'm showing you to get events calendar view. That one's really important in here, but the one where it finds meeting times is really useful. So if you're ever building an app that you need to go just give it a few people's names and just have it go find just times that those people are available and just go ahead and create a meeting, that's just as part of your app, that's going to be a really useful one to do. So that's going to be on the room select screen. So let's go to room select screen. And it is, let's see, let me get, I know there's a lot in here. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, so it's going to get clear collect, do a collection where it's looking for, it's doing the find meeting times. So find meeting times is cool because the things that you provide it are the required attendees, so you can give it a list of people. So you can just give it a list of email addresses like me and Joelle and Chris and Brenda, and just give it a list of people's email addresses, and it will, and then you just give it like a time range, and it will just automatically go find meeting times that all those people are available at the same time. So like a cool app that we use at IW Mentor is that Find Time, just like the meeting availability time little app that's built into Microsoft 365. And it does something like that. It just goes and finds your times and then provides you times that, everyone's available. So that's what this does, and you can build your own. So it goes and finds the meeting times. The required attendees are going to be just all the people's email addresses. So as I click on this variable, you can see that it's already got itself a list of all the conference room email addresses. So what it's doing is that as soon as I arrive on this screen, it's finding a list of all the conference rooms that are available in like today and in that time slot that it selects by default. And is organizer optional? Yes. And it's just got a lot of these little sort of parameters. Here's the start date and the end date. That's important, where it's going to go look at a certain time frame in those people's calendars. And then it's going to go find you need to tell it the duration of how long the meeting needs to be. Minimum attendee percentage 1. You have to have at least one person in your meeting. And then I'm not sure what activity domain means, but so it's just going to go put all that information in this available rooms collection. And then with this cool thing that it's going to do is there is a piece of data in your list of available rooms. So it's creating a new collection. So it created a collection of available rooms. Then it's creating another collection based on available rooms, and it's calling it available rooms sorted. So this is a really neat one that I wasn't really aware of before, that will go take your available rooms sorted by confidence. So there's a piece of data in here as far as just in your calendar, there's a piece of data in those calendar times that has the confidence of how basically like how good of a time slot is that, where, it's not going to be out of office hours. You're not going to be busy doing something else. So it's going to have this confidence level that it's going to sort by, and then it's just going to go get the first thing. So it's going to get the first meeting slot with the highest confidence, and it's going to put that in another collection. And then it's going to get people's availability, see if they're free. And so again, it's doing a lot behind the scenes just when you arrive on this screen. just before it presents you with what the rooms are, because it's going to start with rooms that are definitely available today. So when you arrive on the screen, it's not going to show you rooms that are all booked up for today, and it's going to default to today. So then as soon as you change the date, it's going to go ahead and do that again and go find the meeting times from all those rooms where they're available, in the other date that you pick. Does that make sense? So let's see if we have any questions. Oh, yes, you're right. They did rename Find Time to Scheduling Poll. I couldn't remember what they renamed it to. We've used it so long as Find Time. I was trying to remember what that new name was. But yeah, you're right. Thank you, Lloyd. David says, does the user have a way of seeing what time slots are already booked for a specific room, or is it trial and error to pick a time that is actually available? Oh, that is a good question. We can try that out. That's probably a function that exists in here that we can just go kind of play around and test and see if we can find it. So in this interface, the user picks the date and time first and then sees the room. But with all these functions that are available and with the ability to, just have access to make your app do whatever you want, that is a different interface that you could create if you wanted to have a list of rooms and then be able to just see when those rooms are available. So I don't know. We could try that out. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for putting that information about Find Time. So that scheduling poll / Find Time is extremely useful. It's like we used to have an entire full-time person where I used to work that their whole job was scheduling meetings. And this just kind of eliminates that, because everyone just kind of picks the times that are available and it just puts the meeting together for you. And that's just an add in an Outlook. Okay, so let's see. David, that's a great question. I'm going to see if we can figure that out. So where do I begin? Let's do a new screen. And let's see, this would be a gallery, right? So I'm going to say add a gallery. And then my data that's the question. What do I want the data to be? So it's definitely going to be this Office 365 connector. And then the question is, what am I getting? So I need to get a list of, I need to provide it a room name, and I need to get a list of kind of what is booked for that room, right? I think that's what you're asking. So let me see. Calendar. See, I wish I had like an easier way of looking at this list. Let me go look over here. I'm going to go to this new blank app that I created, because it's got that, the formula bar is got that new functionality turned on in here, and that older app didn't have it. I don't feel like looking around for it. So Office 365.outlook, Office 365 Outlook dot, and calendar get tables might be, let's see. It's going to be something with, get events, calendar view, get room lists, not room lists, not rooms. So I don't need the list of rooms. I just need the calendar events. So let me see if that lets me provide it with a room. So it needs to provide it with a calendar ID, but that's not the same thing as a room though. So I'm not sure. Let's go look. Okay, let's go look at the collections. So this is kind of, I always have like during Power Hour, I always have this sort of part of Power Hour where I go off the rails and I just go like figure something out or like do something unscripted. So this is kind of what we're doing right now, is looking for, just kind of looking around in here. Future calendar events. That's, I'm looking to see if, it's got all rooms. I wonder if I could just put the address, like just the email address of it, conference room C at iwmentorpowerhour.onmicrosoft.com. I'm going to see if it'll let me do that. Did somebody say something? Let me see. enter a time for today on the book a room page that you know a room is already booked. Will that room disappear as an option? Yes. I did try that before so that it does disappear. Let me see. Let's room C. I don't know if it lets me use that as a conference room ID. We'll see. And then the next parameter that it needs is the start date time UTC. So I'll just put now. And then the end date time, I'm going to put 20. Oh, we got to put, it says it needs it in like quotes. It had that example. Hold on. I got to type all that out. Oh, wait, I'll just do now +2. There. And then it's got some optional things in here, but let me see. Yeah, it's definitely giving me an error because it doesn't see this as being like a room ID. Yeah, it says ID is malformed. So I need to know what the actual ID of conference room C is. So I'm not sure how I get that information. Let's see. Room. Yeah, because everything I do, let's see, let me get a list of rooms. I'm going to do another gallery. This is fun figuring it out. I'm going to do a gallery that's got a list of rooms, and then once I have the list of rooms, that ID is probably going to be a piece of information about the rooms. So let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure, Glenna. I thought what we were looking for, I thought what he was asking is if you can just look at a conference room and see what times are already booked up so that you don't have to just keep trying different times. Just so you can just look at one conference room and what it's got going on that day. So I'm going to say room, get rooms. Yeah, get rooms. Yeah. Get rooms version 2. I'll try that. Yeah, it says get all the meetings rooms defined in the user's tenant. So I'll just go get, yeah. So I have nothing in here. It just says text. That's weird. Oh, that's because this label just says text. Okay. Look at what the data is in here. This item dot. Oh, it's got to be dot value. Get rooms dot value. And I even have that in the notes. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there are the rooms. So it's got this item dot address, and then it's got to be this item dot and name. And name is just the pretty name. So what else does it need? Let's see, conference room A, this item dot. I don't know, it might not have the GUID. Yeah, all it has is address and name. So that connector is not going to give us that big ugly GUID that we need. So yeah, so I'm not sure off the top of my head just kind of how to dig in and find that, but it's going to be in there somewhere. I mean, with all these connectors and all these different functions that it gives you, it's going to have, you just have to spend a lot of time going through here and just kind of figuring out. Microsoft's got notes too, and I put a couple of links to resources in the notes for this Power Hour. So yeah. So David, that's going to be kind of the path that you would go down, is to kind of look at this raw data by creating, just like by creating galleries and by creating labels and things like that, to just kind of see what the data is and what the data is that it provides you when you're, trying to get rooms and get events and things like that. So yeah, a lot of the stuff is in there, and it's in a lot of different places in the app. But when it comes to kind of going off the rails and figuring out like a slightly different interface, these are the methods that you're going to use. You're going to look at the Microsoft documentation. You're going to look at just kind of trying different things like I was doing here in the interface. And you're going to, those are kind of all the tools that you have as far as like how to find the list of functions that each connector has, and then how to allow it to let you look at the raw data to find, where is everything. Now, another place that we might be able to look, I think I already looked here, is just kind of all this raw data as far as the available, like the rooms themselves. But I don't think it's got that information about the information about that, like that GUID for the calendar. So I'm not sure off the top of my head where I'd find that. All right, I'll go ahead and go back to the Power App landing screen. There we go. And let me switch over here and we're going to wrap this up. Because I could spend another, 15 minutes just kind of randomly going through it's just got so many formulas that what I'm going to do now is just say, we're going to wrap up. And what I've shown you here today is how to create an app using this template, what the template does just out of the box. It seems pretty simple. And the fact that it's just looking at your Outlook calendar and your rooms that you've created in Exchange. And then just the fact of kind of like where all the different formulas are, where you can find that documentation inside of the app that explains what all those formulas are here. And then just how to, as soon as you find, find formulas that it's doing, how you can sort of backtrack and go search and find the variables and connect collections here, see what they have in them. And then also be able to use this search box to go search for all the different places a given variable or collection is used to kind of drill down and see the guts of how everything works. And that's how it's going to work for any one of these templates that you start using that you need to try and tweak. And that's the same method that you're going to use to figure out how things are functioning in there. And it starts with the connectors, and then connectors are going to have their own functions. And then it's a matter of kind of like, okay, where are all the formulas and what's going on in here? Look at the buttons on select, look at what's in the galleries, look at the on visible, the on start, and that's where a lot of things are happening. So that was an intense one. Thanks everybody for coming to Power Hour. I appreciate it. And you can always look at our schedule. Let's see. You can go to iwmentor.com and you can go to our schedule page, and that's going to tell you when the next Power Hour is going to be. Let me see. I don't know when the next Power Hour is going to be. I'm going to go look it up on the schedule page. So that's going to have a list of all of our upcoming live online classes, and it's going to have a list of, I think I typed my URL wrong. It's going to have a list of Power Hours and our classes. So the next Power Hour is going to be March 6th, and it's going to be here again, and we'll see you in the chat, and we'll see you online. And thanks everybody for participating. And you can find these on YouTube on my channel, Wonder Laura. And thanks Joelle for coming. Thanks everybody. Your questions were great. See you next time.